Well, okay. And just to take a few moments to finish up with Pliny, and I'd like to go through the short response that he got from the Emperor Trajan, that you observed proper procedure, dear Pliny, in shifting the cases of those who had been denounced to you as Christians. It is not possible to lay down any general rule to serve as a kind of fixed standard. It's not possible to come up with a law to judge people by. I mean, they are not to be sought out. If they are denounced and proved guilty, they are to be punished. With this reservation, that whoever denies that he is a Christian and really proves it, that is, by worshiping our gods, even though he was under suspicion in the past, shall obtain pardon through repentance. But anonymously posted accusations ought to have no place in any prosecution, for this is both a dangerous kind of precedent and is out of keeping with the spirit of our age. Like I say, this whole thing just smacks of being a phony, like it was written by a monk. And please, remember the fact that I am not a historian. Never claimed to be. And I don't have a lot of knowledge of Roman history. But it seems to me that everything that I've read that would lead me to believe that no one was being forced to worship any particular set of gods or any particular god in 110 CE. I am aware that in the time of Constantine, who worshipped the sun, Sol Invictus, and that prior to Christianity, that Mithraism was the state religion, and then Christianity was made the state religion, and laws were passed that made it very difficult for anyone to do business within the Roman Empire if they were not Christians, or so we're told by historians that that's what it was. But at the time that this letter was supposed to have been written, and even at the time that Jesus is said to have been on the earth, this whole area was filled with many, many different cults, many different religions. People worshipped Apollo, they worshipped Bacchus, they worshipped Dionysus, Osiris, Serapis. And even the first letter that I read to you in the video I had done yesterday, pertaining to Serapis, talking about Egypt. Well, Egypt, that was part of the Roman Empire, and that letter was written in 134 CE. No one was being forced to worship any particular Roman god. That's what he was commenting about, that Christians down here worship Serapis, or they worship a Christ. And it came right down to it, whether they were Jews or they were Samaritans, that they all seem to, Adrian anyways, that they're just looking for money. So why would we be led to believe that someone that is worshiping the Christ would somehow be singled out and be punished for that in this age? Not simply, and Pliny's even asking the governor this: should I be punishing people just because they were a Christian or they are a Christian? You see, and even after he claims that he punished those 2 female slaves, that he tortured them, and all he got as proof of it was just superstition, excessive, depraved superstition. He never said that he learned anything about anybody called Jesus. He never says that he found out that 90 years ago that God came down and was inside a human being and we killed him. But if we believe in him, we can be saved. And we have government officials that several times in these letters keep calling for people to repent and return to the gods. And I understand that people did worship the emperor as God, and that even Augustus, I've found, was worshipped as the Messiah, as God, just as the pharaohs were worshipped as God in Egypt in prior ages. But this, even if this is genuine, all this proves is that there were Christians, and evidently Christians that were willing to die for their faith, but not a word of Jesus in this. No proof that a man called Jesus Christ ever existed. These Christians he's talking about could very well have been worshippers of Serapis. They could be worshippers of Krishna. They're just called Christians. So it simply doesn't prove what it's supposed to prove. And I guess Christians do this for the most part, but I guess we're all kind of guilty of that to some sense with it, is that we go to and we read something with a preconceived notion, and by doing that we somehow try and make this say something that it doesn't say. And so we all have to kind of caution ourselves against that, and no matter what we read, and just look at the words on the printed page. And as I say, this is again another one of those proofs that the church holds up as proof that Jesus was a historical figure. And it doesn't prove that. So next time we'll deal with another author and see what we can find. Thanks for listening.